Welcome to the video. I am your commissioner and host, JD, and I got with me the new owner of the Scorpions, Andrew. Thank you so much for making the time to be here.
Of course, anytime. Glad to be here.
And we are going to have the Scorpions and myself break down the draft, give you a quick draft breakdown, and then we're going to give you a quick at the end. Stick around for the mock draft. We'll do the first two rounds for you guys. And first, we're going to look at the Bears Q card. We're looking at the Bears here. They have the third overall pick. It is their first season into the it was their first season into the CSFL last season. They finished with 3-6, just making the playoffs. They had a win and get in situation on the last game of the season against the Dragons, and they won, went to the playoffs, and lost to the Piranhas in the first round, but they were beating the Piranhas for 3 out of the 4 quarters there. So the Bears need defensive tackle, defensive end, and a cornerback is the needs that we're looking at. The cue card you can see on the screen, and also the breakdown of the rookies on the defense is on the screen as well. But before we get into who we think everybody's going to pick, we're just going to run through these cue cards real quick so everybody gets an idea of what everybody's looking at right now. Right? So here it is here. Now we're looking at the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays finished or have the 4th pick in the draft, should I say. They had a record of 5-1-1 in season 1, and now they have finished with in season 2 with a 4-5 record. Their needs are outside linebacker, corner, and strong safety. These Blue Jays came and finished the season with the number 1 ranked defense coming into this draft, so I'm really excited about these Blue Jays. Okay, then we'll get into the Cobras. We'll go through these real quick. Cobras here, they actually had the first number 1 pick. They finished this season with a 1-8 record. They actually had a 7-game losing streak before they were able to get their first win of the season. They went 4-3 in the first season ever, and they actually did really well, finishing with the second seed in the first season, but then finishing the last seed here. They need a lot of things. They need middle linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback, outside linebacker, and right end. So the Cobras could really load up in this draft, going in the first pick in every round. So now let's go to the next one, the Dragons here. The Dragons with the second pick. I know it shows that third there. Thank you, Andrew, for pointing that out. Totally forgot.
Yep.
They actually have the second pick, so got to get on the graphics team for that. They finished the season 1 4-3 actually with the as the 3rd seed. And they went all the way to win the championship. Season 1 champions, the Dragons, won it all in season 1, and then in season 2 came to a win and get in game at the end, and they lost and missed the playoffs. So from winning it all to missing the playoffs, this team needs a defensive line big time. They're one of the only teams in the league that actually have 69. 3 out of their 4 defensive linemen are 69, and so it is really bad up front for the defensive line for the Dragons. So I could see them going there. They need right end, left end, defensive tackle, cornerback, and middle linebacker. So excited to see the Dragons get better and get back to their winning ways, because the Dragons are a phenomenal organization with a phenomenal owner. Okay, then this is the Dragons. Couple more here, then we're going to get into the mock draft. They actually had the 9th pick in the draft. The Gators went all the way to the championship game. They lost to the Wildcats, but they beat the Piranhas, the highly favored Piranhas, in the playoffs, coming back, winning 51-49 in a thriller semifinal game. But they couldn't get it done in a championship game. Season 1, they finished a 3-3-1 record. The one tie was against the Blue Jays, which was a 5-1-1 team, but they missed the playoffs in season 1. And then season 2, they go 5-4 and go all the way to the championship game, knock off the highly favored Piranhas, and then lose to the championship game in overtime. So the Gators looking really strong right now. They need a left outside linebacker, left end, right end, and a cornerback. Their 2 defensive ends are definitely need to be looked at, even though Warwick, Trenton Warwick, their one defensive end, I believe it's their left end, he's only a 74 rated, but he led the league in sacks with 4 in 9 games, and he also got a big interception against the Rhinos to turn the tides in that playoff game. So the Gators looking really strong already. And they're going to load up in the draft with the 9th pick in the draft. Now the Piranhas that lost that game, here they are, the 8th pick. The Piranhas have a record of 4-3 in the first season, and they went all the way to the championship game in the first season, and then they lost to the Dragons in a really close game right down at the fourth quarter there, right at the end, going for it on 4th down, and they weren't able to convert, and they lost to the Dragons in the championship game in season 1, finishing with the 4th seed, I believe it was, in the season 1, and then season 2 they finished with the 1st seed, 7-1-1, and everybody thought it was their year to go and win it all, and they lose to the Gators in the semifinal round in a heartbreaking loss, a thriller. The Gators had them for most of the game, definitely going into the 4th quarter, and the Piranhas actually scored 28 points in the 4th quarter to come back to try to win it, but it just wasn't enough for Eric Reeves, quarterback of the Gators. Was able to go back and get a game-winning field goal against these Piranhas. The Piranhas, they need a right outside linebacker, they need a defensive tackle, they need a corner, they need a middle linebacker, and they need a strong safety. They got quite a few holes on their defense that they need to fix up, but their offense is lightning. So if they get any help on the defensive side, they can really push this far. Okay, then we'll go look at the Rhinos and try to wrap this up. Three more teams. The Rhinos here, they have the 5th pick in the draft. Their record in season 1 was 3-4. They just missed the playoffs in season 1. Season 2, they finished with a 5-3-1 record. The one tie in season 2 was against the Piranhas. So the Rhinos tied the Piranhas in overtime in a thriller of a game in season 2, and then they finished with a 5-3 record. They made the playoffs, but were matched up against the Gators in the first round and lost to the Gators. They need right outside linebacker, defensive tackle, and cornerback. They're one of the strongest defenses out there, highly rated defense already. So they could get even stronger with their defense. They just need to get their offense going. They got a great running game, but their passing game really needs to get clicking, and they could be very dangerous. Okay, now we got the Vipers. Let's go look at the Vipers here. The Vipers finished the first season with a 2-5 record. They have the 6th pick in the draft, but the first season they had a 2-5 record first season, and they actually finished last in the league the first season. And now this season they finished 7-2. From only having 2 wins to only having 2 losses in one season. They really flipped it around, these Vipers, up for Coach of the Season, Coach of the Year award. They really did a great job. They were 7-2, like I said, tied with the most wins, but they finished with the 2nd seed. They need a right outside linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback, and strong safety. They're really, really good on defense, though. So don't get it twisted. They're great on defense, and now their offense is clicking. The Vipers are a scary team. They ended up making the playoffs, but meeting the Werewolves in the first round, and the Werewolves upset them 17-14 in a defensive match. And speaking of the Werewolves, here they are, 7th pick in the draft. This is their first season in the in the league, and now they're coming with their first draft ever. They finished in season 2 with a 4-5 record, and they played the Vipers in the first round. And I'm not gonna lie, I thought that the Werewolves were gonna come make the playoffs and lose to the Vipers, and be like, "Thank you, good job, you made it." But they did more than that. They upset the highly favored Vipers. That Piranhas and Vipers were favored to take it all the way. So for them to knock off the Vipers was extremely impressive on the road. These Werewolves won 17-14 in the playoff in the playoff game, but then the next round they faced the Wildcats, who ended up winning it all. So they lost to the champs. But they need a right end. They need a defensive tackle, right outside linebacker, cornerback, and strong safety. I could see them really doing well on their defensive line. They need big time help on their defensive line. Honestly, if I'm gonna rate them with the second worst defensive line behind the Dragons. They do have a really bad defensive line. So and they already did well. They lost a couple really close ones. Out of those 5 losses were really close ones. So and they got 4 wins. They get this defensive line going, or this defense going, they can be really, really dangerous. And then finally, the last team, but not the least, because they won it all, the Wildcats. They finished with the 10th pick in the draft, but they are the season 2 champions. Season 1, they finished with a 2-5 record, which was the second worst team in the league, and they flipped it around and finished with the 3rd seed in the league in season 2 with a 6-3 record. They went all the way, and they went all the way to the championship game, beating the Blue Jays by 1 point in the first round of the playoffs, beating the Werewolves in a great thriller and a high scoring game, and then faced the Gators, and they went to overtime, and the Werewolves, or the Wildcats, beat the Gators in the championship game in overtime. So that is absolutely insane. These Wildcats, they need left outside linebacker, right outside linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback, and a defensive end. So they need help on the with linebackers and defensive line big time. So with that said, let's go and do our mock draft. Thank you so much for duking that out.
So it sounds like there's quite a big similarity in most teams on the front 7 as being mostly needed.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of teams need the front defensive line and linebackers big time. So I could see a lot of those going in the draft. Speaking of the draft,
early.
I think it's going to go all linebackers, then it's going to go all defensive line. Probably defensive tackles in the second round is how I'm seeing it. But who knows what they're going to do. We're going to see, though. So, 1 second.
Yep.
Let's get into the mock draft here. Okay, so the mock draft, the highly anticipated mock draft. Let me get the safe, crack the safe, put in the iCode fingerprint, locked up, highly diamond crusted mock draft here. A lot of owners, I'm sure, are really excited to hear this. I'm sure some owners aren't going to be excited to hear this. So, with the first pick in the draft, in the mock draft, not an actual league, guys, just so you know, the draft is on Saturday.
This is just analysis, guys.
This is just analysis, so don't be freaking out in the comments like, yo, this guy got this guy, because he didn't. It's just a mock draft. And in that said, with the first pick, the Cobras could go middle linebacker, they could go defensive tackle, they could go cornerback, but they have the first pick in the draft, so I see them going cornerback, Kyle Pounds, 86 overall. Kyle Pounds is the best rated corner. You can see him right here on the list. He is 86 overall, 73 tackling, 97 speed, 99 acceleration, 97 jumping. He's 23 years old, 6 foot, 199 pounds. How do you like that pick with the first pick in the draft?
I do like that pick. I believe that should be and will be the pick for the number one pick overall. Um,
Could you see them
just
going anywhere else? Would you go anywhere else if you had the first overall pick?
I mean, if it was my team, of course I would. I got different needs, but
Just generally, not with your team. Just general. In
for
general.
for his team, yeah, I think I would go Kyle Pounds over everybody up there. The only other thing I could see maybe is the left outside linebacker Alvin Flowers, but I think Kyle Pounds is the pick here.
Okay, and then with the second pick in the draft, how you guys are shaking over there. I know you guys are watching this going, oh, who's he going to pick? Don't give away my guys. Okay, and then the second pick in the draft is going to the Dragons, and they pick up defensive end Albert Maynor, 88 overall. They could go linebacker here, but they drafted 2 linebackers last season. They could go middle linebacker, but their middle linebacker made the Pro Bowl or made the All-Star game. Their middle linebacker's great. They got great corners. They drafted a corner last season, maybe get a third or fourth, but not in the first pick. They need a right end, left end, defensive tackle, and look who's sitting there. Big ol' Albert Maynor, 88 overall, the best defensive end in the draft. I'll highlight him here for you guys. He's 6'3", 22 years old, 274 pounds. But the big thing about him is that he's got 93 strength. How do you like that pick for the Dragons there?
This is my guy. I love this guy, Albert Maynor. He is a beast. He's gonna do great for the Dragons, and that's 100% the pick here. If for some reason the Cobras go him, which possibly could happen because he is the best player in the draft, this is my guy. I would take him 100% every time.
Okay, big statement there from the Cobras. And now with the third pick in the draft, we'll try to move this quickly. We might only have time for one round. We'll see how this goes.
Scorpions, by the way, not Cobras.
Oh, Scorpions. Sorry. I'm looking through the list here. My apologies.
Yeah. No,
okay, we're on the third pick here in the first round of the mock draft, and we're going to go with the Bears. The Bears need a defensive tackle and a defensive end and a cornerback, but the defensive end and the cornerback just went. So if those two don't go, I could see the Bears taking them. But since these gone, they go strong safety Tyrone Penn, 87 overall, strong safety, goes to the Bears. He's 218 pounds, 6 foot, 24 years old. He's got 87 acceleration and 86 acceleration and 87 speed. How do you like this pick for the Bears?
So this is where it gets a little weird for me. If let me take a look at my notes here real quick, because I wanted to talk about this pick for you. I didn't know what you were throwing out there, but I kind of want to talk about this one for a second. So give me 1 second here. Sorry, go ahead and talk about something if you want to. Talk about your guy.
The Bears taking Tyrone Penn. He's 79 tackling. He's got 87 speed, 68 catching, 86 acceleration, 75 awareness, which is the best awareness in any of the strong safeties. Also, he got 74 jumping. They could go defensive tackle, which is an 82 overall, but not in the first round. I don't see it, but you never know. They also finished with the third best rushing defense, so I don't see them doing that. Go ahead.
Who's their starting strong safety now, might I ask?
Billy Newton.
If you know that. Okay, Billy Newton?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing, just for team needs in general for the Bears, front seven, the thing that I could see possibly Bears doing is, oh my God, who was it? It was Marvin Summers, the second right end on the board.
Yeah, yeah.
21 years old, 6'4", 251, 85 overall. Maybe the fourth, fifth best player in the draft. I could see him going that, just as team needs in general. But
Yeah.
next best player on the draft or on the board is Tyrone Penn, so definitely could be that as well.
That's a very good point. Their team needs a defensive tackle and a defensive end, and there is a phenomenal right end sitting there. The only reason I went strong safety for the Bears is because their front played really well. They actually finished with the third best rushing defense. So I thought maybe if you secured that back end a little bit better, because they let up a lot of yards in the air, maybe that would kind of be more, to their strengths. But again, the numbers can lie a little bit because they aired it on them, which means that's why they didn't run it on them, because they were able to air it on them.
Well, and that could also be that the coverage is kind of working downfield, but the rush is just not getting there, If he's really needing that defensive end or defensive tackle right up on the line, getting that rush in.
So I'm excited.
If they're not getting to the quarterback's probably having a lot of time, right?
You're absolutely right. So that's going to be a big decision from the coach, and from the owner of the Bears. I'm excited to see which way he goes with that in the first round and what he thinks is more of a priority.
Yeah, that number 3 pick in the draft is the most interesting to me so far.
Okay, and then we'll get into...
The other two seem kind of, sorry to interrupt, the other two kind of seem kind of right on pretty much. If they don't go that, it's going to be pretty surprising. And then number 3 is kind of they could go either way on either of those, I think, in my opinion.
No, you're right. You're right. I want to hear this. Sorry, I don't mean to rush you at all.
No. Just throwing out ideas.
No, you're right, and I want to hear your objective opinion on that. So now with the fourth pick, or should I say, the fourth pick is the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays, they need an outside linebacker, a corner, and a strong safety. Again, if they don't take Tyrone Penn there, the Bears, they could go defensive line. Then I think the Blue Jays take the strong safety because they need one already. Yep. But with that said, if they go with the mock draft that I put here where the strong safety goes to the Bears, I think the Blue Jays take the best available outside linebacker, and they take C.J. Devlin, an 84 outside linebacker, and they go with him over Allen Flowers, and I'll tell you why. Just because of the speed. He's just a little bit faster, but they could also go Alvin Flowers here. So either or Alvin Flowers or C.J. Devlin, I have them taking the best outside linebacker available. Alvin Flowers is 6'4", so that could be a deciding factor for him. The little bit of speed could be a deciding factor for him. Again, this comes down to the owner and what they think is more of a priority. I think they're going to go linebacker here. They got 2 good linebackers last season. They drafted a middle linebacker, Fred Smith, and they also have an outside linebacker, C.J. Pittman, that made the All-Star game. The other side, they really struggle. So I think that... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, is it left or right outside linebacker that you were just talking about?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I know that I can name 2 of them that are good. And there's one there that's a problem. And they already have a good defensive line. They got Paul Watts, the great defensive end last season. They got 2 great defensive tackles. They also got Fred Boone on the other side of the defensive end, which is a 79 overall, which is pretty high for the league average. So they're good on the line for the defense. I think they should secure the linebacker, take the best guy there, and they're laughing. Okay, we'll move into... Go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about this one a little bit. I said you had Devlin penciled in, right, on your mock draft
for the Blue Jays. Yeah.
Okay, so if everything works out the way that you have it on your mock draft so far, I would go here, Alvin Flowers, and I'll tell you the reason why. Um, he is, I know it doesn't matter too much, but he is 2 years younger. He has a lower awareness. He needs a little bit of time. He's a little bit more raw. Um, but I think he's going to turn into just a better overall player just for the time that he's going to have a little extra and being so young and being the top rated already. I think that's the pick, but
You think
that would be me.
Do you think Blue Jays should take Alvin Flowers over C.J. Devlin at this point in the draft?
Yeah, as long as Tyrone Penn's not there for him. If Tyrone Penn's there for him, they're taking him no matter what.
I agree with you on that. Okay, then we'll move into the Rhinos. The Rhinos, let me bring up the graphic for the Rhinos. Or wait a minute, is it the
Nope,
Rhinos are next.
you're right. Rhinos, yep.
Okay, so the Rhinos here, boom, 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 they need a right outside linebacker as well. But they also need a defensive tackle and cornerback. But again, they're sitting right here on the 5th pick. I think they take whatever one the Blue Jays don't take. They need an outside linebacker. They took an outside linebacker last year, Alan Stevens, and he made the All-Star game, and he dominated for them and really got them the 5 wins, helped them get that 5 wins. Also, their middle linebacker is one of the best in the league. They got Curtis Lindsey, who's an 86 overall middle linebacker, and he's young, he's fast, he can go, he can bang, he can do it all. But the other side, they got this guy with the last name Vickerson, and this guy, man, I'm telling you, he I don't want to say he blows the game for them, but if they can make that spot secure, that is going to make a huge difference because a lot of third downs, a lot of big plays went that way, and if they can get a big outside linebacker here, it would help their team tremendously. They also need a defensive tackle, so they could go defense tackle and take the best one in the draft right here. But there is a guy called C.J. Devlin or a guy called Alvin Flowers. If the draft goes away, I think it will be. Alvin Flowers will be sitting there, and he is a monster. So I think they go Alvin Flowers. What do you think?
Yeah, the only thing I'm seeing, I don't know about the Blue Jays. I didn't really look at their roster. The only thing I'm seeing from the Rhinos roster that I was looking at here, they're kind of stacked on the left outside linebacker. They have 2 that are above 80 on the left already. And from what I understand, you still have to have 2 right outside linebackers, correct?
Yeah, you got to have 4 outside linebackers. I'm not sure if you need both left or right. I'll confirm that.
Okay. I mean, they are with the positions that the players come out of the draft for. They are kind of stacked on the left already. That might be a deciding factor for them.
Yeah, they have an 83 outside linebacker and an 80 outside linebacker. That's Nickerson, and they start both those guys. The other guy, I believe it's Vickerson, starts on the right side for the Rhinos, right? So if they can replace Vickerson or get another guy over there, even though he's a left outside linebacker, you'll lose a little bit of awareness, but he'll still be a monster out there. And he's the best available on the board. So I don't know. I think it all kind of works together for the Rhinos right there. Kind of falls right into their lap, you could say.
True. Yeah, I think that could be a pick for sure. I think you might be right.
Okay, and then go ahead while I bring up the next graphic. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only other thing I could see is maybe going defensive tackle there, but.
Yeah, they need a defensive tackle for sure. So now we're on the Vipers here with the 6th pick in the draft. We're at 28 minutes, so we'll finish just the first round here. They need a right outside linebacker, defensive tackle, cornerback, and a strong safety. Again, the 2 outside linebackers are taken. The 2 best are off the board at this point, but I still think they need that outside linebacker anyway. So I think they go outside linebacker Timmy Wilson.
Okay. Yep.
Timmy Wilson. Here, let me highlight him here for you guys. He is got 85 tackling. He's an 83 overall player. He's got 77 speed, and I think that's going to scare people off. But let me show you something. 94 acceleration. Okay, he's got 94 acceleration. That's more than any other linebacker in the draft. Also, he's got high awareness. Higher than any outside linebacker in the draft. Also, he's only 22, but that 94 acceleration, guess how fast that is? That's like faster than... That is faster. Do my research. Gators, research on this one. This man is... Timmy Wilson has got more acceleration than Quincy Drennan. He's got more acceleration than Eric Potts. And just so you know, those are wide receivers that were some of the top best receivers in the league. So this guy's got acceleration that can keep up with the best. So I could see this guy being a bullet for them. They also got Dale Wooden already, a really big outside linebacker last year, maybe even the best outside linebacker that actually came out of the draft last season. They got him. They also got a middle linebacker, the best middle linebacker in the draft with the first overall pick. All they need is one more to complete the puzzle. It's Timmy Wilson. What do you think about that pick?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be another linebacker here for sure, outside linebacker. No matter who's still on the board, because Tyrone Penn obviously is going to be gone. All that, yeah, it's going to be a linebacker here. One of the three that are still available. I believe you're right on that, sir.
I agree with you there. So now we're going to go right into the Werewolves. The Werewolves have the 7th pick, and they need a right end. They need a defensive tackle. They need a outside linebacker. They need a corner. They need a strong safety. Why do they need so much, yet they're still so good? Is because they've never drafted before. All their team is all original. I don't even know, did they make any free agency pickups? I'm going to say they didn't. I don't think they picked up a single free agent. They haven't made a single draft. They are all homegrown. So they're going to draft here for the first time ever, and I'm excited to see this owner, and I know he's excited to draft. He needs a defensive line. His defensive line is the second worst, like I was saying earlier. And there's going to be, again, if the draft goes the way it is, there's going to be a monster there in Marvin Summers. And he could go outside linebacker like we're saying, but the top 3 are gone. Also, The defensive tackle he could get, but he's all right. And you know what? He might go D-tackle. He might. You never know. But there's a guy right there, Marvin Summers, 85 overall, still on the board. You need defensive ends. You need D-line. It falls right to him. I think this is a huge pick for the Werewolves. They picked Marvin Summers, 85 right end. He's got 71 tackling and only 68 speed, which is actually kind of slow. But he's got 93 strength, which is the same as Albert Maynor. He's also got 69 agility. But the big one is he's got 84 acceleration, which is way faster than Albert Maynor. Doesn't have the tackling. But he's got better acceleration and he's got more awareness. And he's more aware, he's a little slower, but he is strong. So what do you think about that pick?
I think that's a wonderful pick if he's available. But I still think he's going to be gone. I still believe Bears take him. But that's in my opinion. We'll see how it goes.
But if the draft goes this way, is that the pick for the Werewolves?
100%. He shouldn't drop that low though, in my opinion. He's definitely a project. He's young. He's 6'4". He's a big guy. He's 251. He's a big guy. I think he's gonna be a force.
People are gonna regret. People are gonna regret not drafting this guy.
Yeah. If he drops that low, I'm going to be real surprised, to be honest.
So that'll be something cool to look forward to when we're watching the draft list, and keep an eye on Marvin Summers. Okay, so we'll go right into the next one, which is the Piranhas, and then we got 2 more left. Piranhas here. They need the right outside linebacker. They need a defensive tackle. They need a corner, a middle linebacker, and a strong safety. This team has the best offense. I know the Gators may be, arguably one of the best, if not the best, but the Piranhas, I'm going to go out there and say they have the best offense because they just distribute the ball to everybody. Both the receivers had 10 touchdowns each. They're great on offense. The thing is, they let up so many points. Oh my God, they let up so many points, the Piranhas. They get into cowboy shootouts all the time. So they got a bad middle linebacker. I believe it's Hodges. He's a little older. He's okay, but the guy that's backing him up in their linebacking cores is not great. They got Sheldon Halt. They got Hodges, Calvin Hodges at middle linebacker, who's okay, but he's slow. And then they got nobody on the other side. So they need an outside linebacker big time. But I think they go middle linebacker here. I got them written down. They got middle linebacker Deron. I'm going to say Deron Matthews. The middle linebacker. The Piranhas last season were all over the place with the drafting. I'm not too sure where they were going to go. No one really did. But in this draft, I think they're going to make the right decision this time, and they're going to take middle linebacker Deron Matthews. He's got 90 tackling, which is the best, actually, the best tackling in the draft coming out. He's got 78 speed, 88 agility, which is the best middle linebacker agility, like by far, by 8. He's got great acceleration, the best acceleration for a middle linebacker. He's got 72 awarenesses, which is kind of in the middle, but he's 6'2", 245 pounds, and this guy will be the leader of the Piranhas defense. Let's hear what you think about that pick.
So if it were me here and I was going middle linebacker, I would take Glenn Anderson. The reason being is tackling can be worked on a little bit, which is only 8 points lower. His speed is definitely 8 points higher, so that's definitely 100% great. And then you got agility, which is a little less, which can always be upped maybe a little bit, and acceleration is definitely a little bit lower, but he's also younger. His awareness is higher. They're rated the same. I'd probably go Glenn Anderson here, but that's just me.
I like that pick. Even though Deron Matthews has a little bit more acceleration, well, not a little, a lot actually, from 83 to 91. So he's got a boatload more of acceleration, but
it's 8 points for acceleration for 8 points of speed. Basically, that's the trade-off right there.
Right. And in the trenches, I guess, coming off the line, I don't know. Not too sure. But what I do know is I can confirm with you is that Calvin Hodges, their middle linebacker, is actually an 81 overall, but he's 66 speed. Their outside linebacker is Sheldon Halt. He's an 85 overall, but he's 69 speed. Their other guy they got on the other side is Kurt Barnes. He's 77. So they need to replace that guy. They can get another middle linebacker here and even throw him on the outside. That would be huge for these guys, man.
Need some speed.
Yeah, I think they need some speed at their linebacking core. Number one, again, they could go defensive tackle because they only have a 78 on the line, and then it goes 69, and then a 39 for their defensive tackle. They have the worst defensive player in the league, 39 overall defensive tackle. And he's 29 years old, and then his other defensive tackle's 33 years old and 26 years old. He needs defensive tackle bad, so he could go Chuck Ross here, 82 overall, just to get it done. But I could see him going middle linebacker here just because of the value. So what do you think of that pick? You like you said, you'd go Glenn Anderson though, not Deron.
I mean, either one is good because you got it. It looks like Deron Matthews might be a better coverage guy. If you're running that type of defense, it depends on what kind of defense he's trying to run. Who I would go there. If you want the cover guy, the middle linebacker, doing like a zone. If that's a thing a lot with your middle linebacker, sure. Deron Matthews looks great.
Right.
If you're going downhill, He needs a little work on his tackling, but I think he's the guy. Um, and then for defensive tackle, he could go that. That's like you said, a huge need. That's a big boy up front. 352, 6'5", 93 strength. That's a big boy, Chuck Ross. That could be the pick as well. Especially if he's still up there, would be a great pick.
Yeah, that's actually probably the better pick for the Piranhas. But either way, they're getting two. Either way, I don't think they could lose with those two picks at that position, at that spot. We're at 39 minutes, so I'm gonna try to I'm gonna try this super quick. Okay, Gators second last pick, 9th pick here. They need outside linebacker and they need 2 defensive ends. Do they go outside linebacker here and take Bobby Dexter, the 81 overall, or do they take Omar Randall here, the 82 defensive end? This is a hard one. I'm excited to see what the Gators do here, but I'm going to say they take Omar Randall because they need the defensive end more. They take Omar Randall, the 82 overall defensive end, because they need it bad.
Yeah, I like that pick. I like that pick. If they don't take him, he's gone. So I like that pick.
Okay, and then the last pick in the draft, I'm going to skip that one real quick. The Gators, they're phenomenal everywhere. Honestly, the Gators phenomenal everywhere. This is just going to make them that much better on the line. That's all they need, so it'll fall right into them. But the last pick, we'll skip it real quick. Sorry, Gators. We're going to the Wildcats here, and the Wildcats with their last pick on the board. Before I tell you who it is, who would you pick here with the last pick and with who's available?
I mean, it really depends on who's still available for me, but I think I'd probably go. Let's see here. I mean, probably one of the outside linebackers if they're still available, which I think they will be. I think at least Bobby Dexter will be available, or defensive tackle. Yeah, one of those two. So probably either Ryan Morgan or Bobby Dexter.
I think that going with the defensive tackle is probably the better idea. But I wrote on the board here, free safety Fred Whitehead, 85 overall. Free safety is just sitting right there.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at that. Oh, man. Yeah.
And he gets picked with the 10th pick in the mock draft. So I hope you like the mock draft.
Yeah, last pick in the I wasn't paying attention to that page, but yeah, last pick in the thing. If he's still available, if nobody picks up that free safety, yeah, that's a great pick for the Wildcats.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helps your draft. Good luck on the draft on Saturday, guys, and we'll see you at 12 o'clock, May 29th, via Discord for the Season 3 Canadian Simulation Football Draft. Thanks so much for being here, Scorpions.
Can't wait for it. I'm so excited.
All right, guys, talk soon.
Let's go.